Story came out in Politico the other day. Be prepared to get angry. So, they say, House Dem campaign chief warns the majority at risk without message reboot. Quote, "We're not trying to hide this," the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee's executive director said. So, number of things here. They say, oh, it's just a messaging problem. Well, it is both a messaging problem and a substantive problem, as we're going to talk about. So let me just give you a little snippet from this article here. They say, during a closed-door lunch last week with some of his most vulnerable incumbents, House Democrats' campaign chief delivered a blunt warning. If the midterms were held now, they would lose the majority. Democrats would lose the majority if the midterms were held now. Representative Sean Patrick Maloney, following that bleak forecast, which was confirmed by multiple people familiar with the conversation, with new polling that showed Democrats falling behind Republicans by a half dozen points on a generic ballot in the battleground district. Maloney advised the party to course correct ahead of 2022 by doing more to promote President Joe Biden's agenda. Okay, let's dissect this. They fell behind Republicans by 6 points on a generic ballot. That's a huge downturn. Now understand, the Democrats would need to win by like 4 or 5 or more in order to just keep the numbers they have now because of the fucking gerrymandering, which makes it like impossible for them to pick up seats or gain seats, and they're not doing anything about that. So it's not just that they can't be down 6. They can't even fucking tie or win by 1 or 2. They got to win by like 6, 7, 8 in order to like be competitive. So they're just way off base here. And again, Maloney advised the party to course correct ahead of the 2022 by doing more to promote Joe Biden's agenda. Let's dissect that a little bit. For example, in this poll we learned voters disapproved of Democrats' handling of the economy by a margin of 41 to 55. 41 to 55. So they're way underwater with the economy. They say, well, Biden is polling better than us, so we just all need to run as Biden Democrats, and that's how we win. What they don't tell you is Biden's numbers are plummeting too. Biden has dropped significantly since May. So he's plummeting, and their brilliant idea is, latch on to the guy who's also plummeting like we are. Why would you do that? The president is always more popular than Congress. So this is no different, and this is a lackluster. His approval rating's around 50%. That's not that great. But that's their genius idea. So the thing that's driving me absolutely crazy is, guys, they don't understand the most basic political concepts. The most basic ones. So if you are an elected Democrat, what do you have to do in order to win, in order to have a strong performance? There's 2 things. Number 1, promote the good things that you did. Promote the good things that you did relentlessly until everybody knows it. So if you were one of these elected Democrats, you shouldn't go a single interview without bringing up the stimulus checks that you did, or the child tax credit, which is phenomenal policy that's helping so many people, or the Biden did the $15 an hour minimum wage for federal contractors and for federal workers and for tipped federal workers. So now there's no exception to the minimum wage when it comes to the federal government. Everybody gets paid at least $15 an hour. Bring that up. Bring up the good things. Or the second thing you could do is do more good things. Do more good things. This is like they pass some watered down bare minimum shit, and then they don't brag about it and pretend like it's the best thing ever, which, by the way, those things are good, but they're just bare minimums. They don't brag about it, and then they're not talking about like, well, fuck, we should probably do some more good shit for people so that we become popular again. Why would you not cut another stimulus check, for example? Why would you not try to do universal basic income? Why would Joe Biden not break out that executive order pen and legalize marijuana or decriminalize marijuana or eliminate student loan debt or eliminate $50,000 worth of student loan debt? You either have to brag about the good shit you did, which they're not doing. Nobody even brings up the child tax credit in interviews if they're Democrats. They don't say anything. They don't brag about the good stuff, and they don't fight for more good stuff. Even with this negotiation with the infrastructure bill, nobody's out there repeatedly harping away on what's in the partisan reconciliation bill. And by the way, even without them promoting it, these pieces of legislation are massively popular, which shows they just have good ideas in them, like universal pre-K and child care and was it elder care? 2 years free community college. They got all these good ideas in them. They're not even promoting it, and the ideas are popular, but they're not connecting the dots for people. Saying, we're in favor of this, they're against this. We're going to fight for this. You guys love this shit. We're not going to stop until we get it done. These are phenomenal ideas. Let me explain to you why it's absolutely necessary that we have universal pre-K. Let me explain to you why the government has to work for regular people. It is absolutely infuriating how badly they're handling this. And by the way, again, they're only talking about it as a messaging problem. It's not just a messaging problem. It's also, you have to do more shit for people problem. You're not doing enough. And even the good shit you did, you don't talk about it. You don't brag about it. You don't connect the dots. And their genius idea is only going to hurt them further. Just say you're Biden Democrats. There is no, they're so insane. They think there's a cult of personality around Biden. People voted for Biden because his name was not Donald Trump. People tolerate Joe Biden. Everybody could tell he's half asleep in every press conference he does. And the most inspirational shit you can come up with is, I'm with the zombie. That's the most inspirational shit you can come up with. Nothing about the child tax credit. Nothing about the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. Nothing about the stimulus checks. Nothing about the $15 minimum wage for federal workers and contractors and how many people's lives were helped as a result of that. Nothing about any of that. Nothing about fighting for a UBI or fighting for the reconciliation bill, which has a bunch of phenomenal stuff in it. Expanding Medicare. Nothing about any of that. It's unbelievable. Final point is this. This is how pathetic the Democrats are. I've never seen incompetence to this level. Now understand, the corporate Democrats are corrupt. And so on the one hand, they don't want to do a lot of these good things, but also put that aside. Because even if you don't want to do those things, they do want to win, but they can't even figure out basic shit in order to win. They're so incompetent. They are so immensely incompetent. They're now losing to a Republican Party that has only been yelping and bitching and moaning about cancel culture and wokeness the entire time Biden's been in office. That's all they do. That's all they do. Oh my God, Dr. Seuss this, Dr. Seuss that, Mr. Potato Head this, Mr. Potato Head that. Simone Biles, get your ass back in there. Fuck anxiety or depression or ADHD. I don't care if you have the twisties and you're going to break your fucking neck. Get in there because America. All they've been doing is talking about nonsense, cultural, social issues bullshit with zero connection to policy, and they're up 6 points on the Democrats. They're up 6 points on the party that did the stimulus checks and did the child tax credit and did the $15 an hour minimum wage for federal workers and federal contractors. How stupid are you? Anybody who materially improves people's lives has a built-in advantage. A built-in advantage, and you can't fucking win. You can't fucking do it. You can't hold the lead. You can't do anything right. You don't brag about the good shit you did, and you don't fight for more new good shit. So now you're being beaten by people who haven't said a goddamn word about unions or the economy or helping regular people or ending the wars. You're losing to people who haven't said a substantive thing in fucking months. In months. Their prime achievement under the last president was a colossal tax cut bill for the rich and for corporations. How are you losing to them? How are you that bad? Because this is what happens when you don't brag about the good shit you did and you don't fight for more good shit. This is what happens. They have no message. They have no anything. They're just still coasting on, I guess we're not Donald Trump, so we're with Biden. Is he awake? Wake him up. He looks like he's asleep. Can he talk today? Did you give him his medicine? I'm with that guy. That's the least inspirational thing ever. And now I'm at the point where I'm leaning much more in favor of, I think the Democrats are going to get routed in these midterms. Between not doing election reform and all the fucking gerrymandering, you won't talk about the good things you did, and you won't fight for more good things and connect the dots for people. I mean, with this infrastructure bill that we're working on, the partisan one has asset recycling and privatization, so it's not a great bill. But the partisan reconciliation bill is awesome, and nobody's fucking talking about it. Nobody's hammering away at it. I don't know what to tell you. You're down 6 points to a bunch of fucking idiots who can't shut up about cultural garbage. This is exactly like in 2004 when George W. Bush was running around the country. They ran an entire election while the Iraq war is going on, while it's going horribly. They ran an election on, man, gays getting married is gross, isn't it? Christianity's awesome, isn't it? And they won. They focused on all cultural garbage, and the Democrats were so ineffectual and had no message at all that the Republicans won with a dumb culture war message. How do you let somebody doing the culture war override economic material well-being? You have to be the most incompetent people on the planet, and they fucking are, and they are. So they got to get their head out of their ass. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. How are you 6 points down to a party that's done nothing but obstruct good things and talked about fucking Mr. Potato Head? Pathetic, embarrassing, fire every single strategist and get to fucking work on doing the right thing. Talk about the good shit you did and fight for more good shit. And talk about what's in the human infrastructure bill. Brag about it. Everybody needs to know that you're in favor of free college, 2 years free community college. You absolutely should talk about that. Everybody should know you're in favor of universal pre-K. These are things that help regular people. But you don't talk about it. You'll just say, I don't know, I'm with the zombie Biden guy. Well, good luck in 2020. You're going to lose to people that have a collective IQ of like 32